Jose's done it again. The best to ever do it.
They were making it out like it was the
Jose
biggest thing.
Mourinho, the man who stole the show. You're the
David
special
versus
one.
Goliath.
Dynamo.
Right.
This is going great.
Let's go.
Right.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to Just Another Football Podcast for the second time this week. Little double header for the viewers, for the listeners. We're back again to preview the Champions League final. All the lads are here. Ali, how are the nerves, mate?
Shitting it.
You're shitting it. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Giving us a. I mean, I have to say, like, I'm less nervous than I would have been had Liverpool been on for the quadruple. I think everyone can safely say that.
Yeah.
Now I'm not that bothered whether they win or not, to be honest. I'm sure the Chelsea lads disagree with me strongly, but I'm not that offended by Liverpool. I've said this openly before. Apart from the fake COVID tests, we don't really have a rivalry with them. So I'm indifferent, basically. So I'm looking forward to hopefully a good game of football, because the last Champions League final Liverpool were involved in was one of the worst games I've ever seen.
Yeah. Don't care.
Although
though.
they did do us a solid and beat Spurs, so I can't complain with the end result.
I have literally no memories of that final at all.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It was genuinely not a spectacle. Like, it was dreadful. So, anyway,
You're not wrong.
Let's look ahead to the game. What's the
Try and
latest?
talk
Ali?
this one up.
Yeah, absolutely not, mate. Absolutely not. What's the latest with the Liverpool team news? Obviously, a few injury concerns. What's it looking like?
It's not looking. I'm a bit nervous now than I was before. Even though it's not a secret at this point. I know I think Real Madrid are gonna win it, regardless of who the opposition was gonna be. They're always gonna win the Champions League. But anyway, a few injuries in midfield, and that changes things a lot. But Divock Origi's definitely out. Fabinho and Thiago looks like it's kind of touch and go. I think Thiago started light training, as did Fabinho, but the reports have kind of been conflicting, I suppose. We're not sure at this point. We're recording on Wednesday night, straight after the Europa Conference League. So that's important to keep in mind, because I think the episode is going to go out on Friday morning. So things could have changed then. But at the moment, I'm thinking Fabinho and Thiago probably not going to start, at least.
Both?
Yes, I think so, based on what I'm seeing. In terms of injuries, maybe Klopp is going to risk it with one of them, since we have 5 subs in the Champions League and we're kind of used to 3 in the league. Maybe he's going to be like, okay, if they're fit enough to be on the bench, I'm just going to start them and see how it goes, because they obviously form 2 of the best midfield 3, in my opinion. You get Fabinho in the middle, you get Thiago on one side, typically the left, and in my opinion, Henderson on the right would be the preferred choice over Naby Keita. Just because there's an opportunity there in terms of the rotation between him, Salah, and Trent that's been going on all season. So yeah, that would be my preferred midfield 3, but 2 of them are obviously still injured out. So
yeah. So if one of let's say one starts and one doesn't start, then what would you look for Liverpool to do there?
I would try to start. I think Fabinho.
Yeah.
Just for more support, because we'll need the recovery pace of Van Dijk. Fabinho is capable of kind of dropping in. So maybe Van Dijk can be sucked into one side. So I would want someone that can provide that cover from midfield. And then I would start Henderson and Naby Keita. That's if both Fabinho and Thiago have an equal chance of starting. I think I would start Fabinho.
Interesting.
Given what Real Madrid do and what they'll be looking to, I think they're gonna absolutely pepper Trent like last time with long balls from Toni Kroos to Vinicius Jr. But we'll see what happens. Let's just wait on the news. Hopefully both start, because they give us a lot more chance when the 2 of them start.
I must say on that as well, it's not exactly beyond Klopp for him to overplay injuries. It happens all the time, especially with big
managers do
games
it.
coming up. Managers do it, and it's gaining any tactical advantage you can possibly. I've seen it with Alaba as well. Like it's a very very minor injury. He's expected to be back, tomorrow as well. There's always like a short turnaround, but
Yeah.
really, how serious are these injuries?
Well, I
Realistically,
think,
he's not
yeah,
playing.
like
But
there
I
has to
think
be
Fabinho, go on.
there has to be an injury in the first place. Like obviously,
Yeah.
for any of this
Yeah,
to
of
be a
course, yeah.
consideration, it's not like you can fake that. But I think once there is, and once a player's recovering, there kind of isn't any advantage to the manager coming out and declaring that they will be fit, because obviously there's the chance that they won't be.
Yeah.
But also, as you said, there is that aspect of keep the opposition guessing. Make them prepare for the most possible, like multiple scenarios, for the game to unfold. So I just have a feeling, Ali, and you might be more clued up on this than I am, but I feel like both will play. I feel like
Hopefully so.
if there's a game to gamble in, it's this, especially because you said there's 5 subs. So if one or if both breaks down, you can take them off and it's not actually that costly, in the grand scheme of things. And I just think in a game like this, as you said, you're much better when they both play. And I think he will take that risk personally. But I mean, look, I'm prepared to be proven wrong on it.
I hope he does, and because I think, as you say, like if worst case scenario happens and they both go down, that's 2 out of the 5 substitutions. He's used to 3 anyway. He was prepared for the possibility that they both might not play, so I think he'll be prepared.
He'll be prepared.
Interesting. You're happy for a player to play through injury, Ali.
It's the last game of the season.
I thought you were all for their well-being and
I am.
Well,
But
they'll still be hurt if they go down. They might make their injury worse.
You're right. It's a final, though.
I think it's basically like in terms of when you're weighing up the risks of it all. It's what version of what version of Thiago and Fabinho is basically, at what point are they better than the alternatives? Like, is it, a 70% Thiago and, an 80% Fabinho is worth the risk? Like, I suppose it's all about kind of weighing it up and looking at the alternatives, looking at how, maybe tactically how that then changes the game.
And
depending how calculated risk with it
how
all.
training goes as well depends on that. We won't know until we see the starting lineup, I don't think.
I wonder will Camavinga start? I know you mentioned Kroos there, but like Camavinga's been so impressive every time he's come off the bench, and he's changed the games at times. Yeah, but I suppose like if he's good coming off the bench, I suppose you can keep him that way and have him in the back pocket for the last half an hour or so. But he's been really impressive. But I think he'd be a great antidote to that Liverpool midfield, though. Like someone like him starting the game, it just give that sort of help Real Madrid match Liverpool's intensity in the midfield to some degree.
I'm sure you're right, but Ancelotti, he is a manager that just goes for tried and tested, and the players that have been there and done it before. And when you've got Modric, you've got Kroos, and you've got Casemiro, all have won multiple Champions Leagues with Real Madrid. I think he'll just defer to that, and I don't know. Like it's difficult to argue with that sort of in one sense because these are the players that have been there and won in finals against Liverpool. No less, albeit a different version of Liverpool. But it is difficult to argue that. The one other sort of selection thing I wanted to ask you about, Ali, was the centre backs, because that's the only other sort of area where I could see. You sort of obviously Van Dijk will play, but then it's who do you play with him? Is it Konate? Is it Matip? What would you like to see happen? What do you think will happen?
This is a really difficult one because on the one hand, Konate started consistently the Champions League. I think he pretty much started every game from like in the knockouts at least. He's been definitely
he's played a lot of them. Yeah,
Konate's recovery pace is better than Matip's.
Yeah,
but I think Matip has a better positional awareness, obviously better experience overall, but I think he has a much better positional awareness. And with Benzema how he looks to drop in midfield and link up play, go all the way to the right hand side and link up play there, and give support to Carvajal making overlaps, and just the way he kind of moves about. I think if Konate starts, Benzema will look to drag Konate out of position. And we've conceded a few goals this season where Konate's made positional errors. And Benzema is probably one of the best in the world in occupying center backs. So that might be a weakness that Benzema will look to exploit. On the other hand, Matip is a much better option on the ball as well, in terms of build-up play and progressing it. But at the same time, Real Madrid don't really press that high. So is that really needed in terms of ball progression? I don't think we'll necessarily need to play through the press. We'll need to be patient. But like Matip is very capable of just spreading balls out wide to Robertson or Trent, so that could be an avenue. Personally, I would start Matip.
Interesting.
Because of that positional sense, and because we'll need to play a really rigid offside trap, because they will definitely look for runs from Vinicius Jr. And our offside trap will have to be absolutely perfect. I don't think we're going to revert to... I always personally prefer a mid-block, especially against Real Madrid, because I just think it's less risky, and you don't give Benzema a lot of kind of room to drop off, because that way you have support from the midfield as well if you're not pressing so high. Like Benzema doesn't find as much room. I can see the high line succeeding in terms of making the pitch really small for Real Madrid to move through, but the offside trap's gonna have to be absolutely perfect, and Matip is clearly the better option at that, to be honest.
Yeah, I actually tend to agree, and also partly because I remember how well Matip played for you in the last time, or the last time you got to the Champions League final, kind of in that run to the Champions League final and in the final itself. Again, like when you're talking about experience and players that have been there, and as good as Konate is, and I think will be for you, I think again this is a game where there's minimal difference between the two, I think, and I think it's just one of those where you sit Konate down and say, look, your time will come. But I don't know. He'll definitely do that. I mean, Klopp's proven before that he's prepared to play, inexperienced players in finals. I think of him playing Kelleher in the Carabao Cup final, for example. He's not afraid to do it and show loyalty to players. But this is maybe slightly different in that sense.
It would definitely be by far the best game of his life.
I think your point about it not being about progression, I think that's spot on. I think it's just all about what's the best antidote to Vinicius Jr. and Benzema. And go for that, whatever combo that is. Which
kind of brings me on to sort of discussing the tactical matchups and the actual game itself. Where is this game going to be won and lost for both teams? What do we think the key matchups are? Go for Ali.
Oh, do you think?
I think it's midfield.
No. It's sorry to cut you off, Fergal, but I think it's Vinicius Jr. versus Trent. It's clearly going to be a huge battle. Trent's on it, fair enough. I don't see it in his game, to be on it.
What about the FA Cup final?
Well, he wasn't. He wasn't that good. First half, he was particularly.
I thought he was pretty good, to be fair, mate.
He wasn't consistent the whole game.
I honestly think that.
But I don't think he's good enough.
I don't agree. I think he is good enough. I think what he gives you going the other way certainly makes up for it.
I agree.
But what I will say, and I agree with you here, is that he's facing obviously a much better left winger than what Chelsea had. So, he might well come a cropper. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I think if I'm a Liverpool fan, and Ali, you might agree, you might disagree, that is an area of concern, of course, but.
I mean, given what happened a year ago, almost.
I was going to say, what happened
a little
last
more
time?
of a year.
Yeah, but I think it's different because last time, the centre backs weren't there, and I can't remember who they played in midfield that night. But I don't know if it was the regular midfield. Certainly, it was a poor performance from Liverpool that night. Like I accept that.
Ozan Kabak was playing that day.
Ozan Kabak played. Was it Kabak and Phillips at the back? Was it? I mean, it was just.
Yeah.
I find that a difficult kind of yardstick to compare it to. I think this is just different.
The reason I say the midfield is because it's the Vinicius Junior. As good as he is, he needs to be found by someone. And sometimes that's Benzema. Sometimes it's one of the midfielders. But the injuries that Liverpool have, the midfield battle, depending on who they start, I think becomes more and more important. And just because the two midfielders are really in form, I think it's as simple as coming down to that. My prediction for the final is that Liverpool are, if they have the full team fit, I think they'll walk it in the first half. I think they'll be. I think they'll do what Man City done against Real Madrid, except they'll actually take their chances. And that's where I see this game. Maybe a wee bit cagier, but I think it'll be. I can see them going 2-0 up early on. As providing that the midfield that is fit and it's the starting midfield, I could see that happening.
I think it definitely depends on whether Liverpool stop ball progression to Kroos, Modric, and Benzema. As long as these three don't get too involved, we'll be absolutely fine. But if Real Madrid manage to find them a lot, it will be trouble because Vinicius Junior, like the runs of Vinicius Junior, won't necessarily be stopped by Trent. That's like I would be lying to myself if I said that's gonna be a good matchup from Trent. Hopefully it is. It
won't always be Trent's responsibility either. Even if he is down that left wing.
If Van Dijk will drop off with him, but
again, Van Dijk on the right.
Or sorry,
he plays on the left, doesn't he? Usually,
yeah, Van Dijk does play on that. I was saying Matip will provide that cover if needed if we're not playing the offside trap. Like it depends on game situation, of course. But yeah, he will be running in behind. Might be a few offsides. But yeah, it just depends on whether we can shut down their midfield.
Easier said than done.
You say that, it is easier said than done. But I have to say, like when I watched them in last season's Champions League, and it was the same midfield playing, they looked a very old and leggy midfield. Chelsea shut them down and made them look, I thought, pretty pedestrian, to be honest. So it can be done. And I think it's interesting what you mentioned there, Fergal, about if Liverpool get the chances Man City did, they will punish them. There's no doubt in my mind that if the game goes the way it did against Man City, then they're not going to be wasteful and let them off the hook.
I think Mo Salah will bit between his teeth for this game.
Whoever it is, though, to be honest, I think you take any of their forwards and you'd say, look, give them a chance, and you'd expect them to score more times than not.
I don't necessarily agree. I think Salah needs a lot of chances within the game to be successful. I think Diaz is the same. You look at the sort of FA Cup final, Diaz had a number of one-on-ones.
Well, Diaz is... I don't agree
doubt,
with that.
The thing is, I don't doubt that Liverpool will create these chances. I think they'll absolutely create chances. I mean, Chelsea created chances against Real Madrid. Man City walked through them at times. And like you said and noted, they really should have won the game in the first 15 minutes, really. Having said that, I think this Liverpool front three are overrated in terms of conversion, not in terms of chance creation. They're absolutely exceptional. Arguably the best front three in the world. They do miss a lot of chances. They do absolutely miss a lot of chances, and so I'm thinking the opposite. If I'm honest, I can see Benzema scoring extremely early on.
But I mean Benzema,
and I can see Real Madrid trying to do a job in terms of a defensive display, and it's just going to come down to Liverpool's finishing, which I don't know. I don't know if they'll have it.
I've seen enough evidence to suggest they will.
If you ever said a game's going to come down to will Liverpool finish their chances, I'd be fairly confident that they would.
do. They don't. They very
the only
rarely
thing
fail
about
to score.
the only thing about the 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 thing that's got Real Madrid through to this stage is the fact that they have some unbelievable individuals that can turn a game on its head in just a moment of magic. And
Modric,
Courtois,
Vinicius, Benzema.
Those are the guys that can make the difference. And like that, the fact that they have 4 of them in the team, both ends, the whole way through the team. I think that is the tricky bit. But I still just think Liverpool are gonna be up for this. I think, especially after losing the Premier League the way they did there at the weekend, that'll be in their heads. The previous time they came up against Real Madrid in the final, how that went for them. All these factors, I think they'll just be. I can just see them bursting out of the gates really early on, and having you're saying they might miss chances. Sure, they will.
But they'll get a lot.
I can see them having loads of chances in the first 20 minutes and getting at least 1 goal in the first 20, and then going from there. And it's a final, and they tend to be caged at them how both teams usually play. I can just see Liverpool just going for it.
Problem with if it goes the way you're saying here, Fergal, and we do get loads and loads of chances and end up scoring once in 20, 30 minutes, I would be really nervous then. Because it's just, first of all, it's just another typical Real Madrid thing we're just way off it here, but we're still gonna win this somehow. Like they're just
think of the tie. Think of the ties that they've gone through, right? They were woeful against PSG for 3/4 of the tie, and then Benzema got 3 in.
They had a good 10 minutes, Real Madrid.
Yeah. Against Chelsea, it was slightly different because they were good at the start of the tie. Not great. I think Chelsea made mistakes, but they got goals in spurts. And then against Man City, it's exactly the same thing where they were outplayed for 179 minutes of the tie, and then got 3 goals in 10 minutes, including the start of extra time. Yeah, they've kind of done it in like spurts of not playing very well for large parts of the tie, and then exploding into life for short bursts, and ultimately it's been enough.
And that's what makes me most nervous about all of this. We need to finish like most chances that we get, just so we're like definitely sure. Like I would love for us to go just 3-0 up in 30 minutes and continue to attack.
Yeah,
which is that, I don't think it's going to sound outrageous. Yeah, I don't think it is. I think this is going to sound outrageous. I don't think it's impossible because Real Madrid's back line is not good.
No.
So
it's just the occasion, though, isn't it? Like I can't remember many Champions League finals that have been over within the first 20 minutes. I mean, I can't remember any, to be honest. They're always cagey because it's just the occasion is what it is. Like it's the biggest game in club football. Like it just doesn't tend to
the other thing
transpire that way.
It's a good point. I can imagine the point to counteract what my prediction would be that Real Madrid will be expecting Liverpool to come out of the traps with all their experience and just soak it up for 20 minutes and work themselves into the game.
Let them tire.
On top of that, Fergal, you've also got a team that in Liverpool that's been relatively untested in this Champions League run in the knockouts. Anyway, in terms of the knockout football, yes, they've been absolutely fantastic in the FA Cup and the League Cup. Champions League is a different ball game. Real Madrid have been there; they've done that this season in terms of character, in terms of coming back and winning it. It's unquantifiable, and that's why it's difficult to talk about in football.
I don't worry about Liverpool from that perspective, though. If there's one thing I don't worry about Liverpool, it's
character.
It's the ability to overcome adversity. I think that's actually their greatest strength as a team. Is so often it doesn't quite go the way that you think it's going to go within a game, and they find a way to just get
results. Both teams are quite similar in that respect.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying about how in the run so far they haven't had to do that because of the opposition they've played and the way the ties have gone. Like that is fine, and I know what you're saying. But when it comes down to it, do I worry about them having to dig deep and find a way to win? No, I don't. I think Klopp's the best manager when it comes to finding whatever's required and playing the game that's required to win. I really don't worry, like sort of from that aspect. I can't think of anyone better.
The other thing about
really
Real Madrid, I'm just looking at the fixtures.
You're shaking your head, George, but I can't think of a manager that's better at that.
He's only won. I mean, it's the first time he's won an FA Cup. First time he's won a League Cup.
I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about the fact that
he's not.
They are.
Knockout.
I'm not talking about knockout football though. I'm talking about what's required to win within 90 minutes. So often, you know, it doesn't quite go the way they want, but they find a way to get a result. They're excellent at it.
The other thing about Real Madrid is that they've lost to every team they played in the knockout stage within 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And now you go in with a different mindset for a two-legged affair. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But like they've lost it. Like there has been times where they've only come back into the tie because there is a second leg. That second leg isn't there. They were by far the second best team of the tie, and they're out of it. And like, so it kind of depends what Real Madrid turns up. I know what Liverpool's going to turn up.
Yeah.
And to me, it's whether or not Real Madrid have one of these spells of 10 minutes that they're unbelievable, and the rest of the time they're solid. That's a lot to ask for, a lot to be putting your hopes on.
I think they will though, because we talk about Camavinga earlier. Mm-hmm. Camavinga's undoubtedly going to come on in the second half for Casemiro, who'll commit like 6 yellow card offenses and get 1 red yellow card.
He usually comes on for Kroos and Modric, doesn't
he? He'll come on for Casemiro. Because we'll just run over their midfield, and Casemiro's just going to do a foul after foul after foul. And it's get away with too much for Carlo Ancelotti to be comfortable with not leaving him on the pitch and not getting sent off. That's the way I've been thinking about Casemiro, really. But regardless, Camavinga and Rodrigo for someone in midfield, but probably Kroos to be fair, and Federico Valverde, who I think is going to start on the right wing. Yeah. And that, if we're not in the lead by a margin, and these two come on, they have unbelievable legs and can just beat anyone with pace and carries. So that's another thing that would make me a little bit nervous if we're not winning and
would you not
relatively comfortable. You're never comfortable against Real Madrid, but relatively comfortable, like a 2-0 lead going into the last,
I'd be worried about
minutes.
Someone with legs coming on grand, but the fact you have 5 substitutes and then you've got legs on your bench as well, and you're in your own right, that like I think even someone like Henderson could match Camavinga and keep him quiet during a game, like not match him physically, but he has that experience, that nous to keep someone like that quiet. Like and that's that worst case scenario that you have to rely on someone like Henderson to do that. Like I think that you like talking about the options on their bench, you've like experience in your bench, the physicality's all there. Physicality's actually in Liverpool's favour, I think, on the whole. It's just very specific positions on the pitch that Real Madrid might like Vinicius Jr. and Camavinga if he comes on, but I really think you have a match for Camavinga as long as you are set up for him.
Maybe I'm just too nervous, because I really am.
I honestly think I can't imagine Liverpool losing this. I think
I've worked out. I know what you're trying to do, Fergal. I know exactly what you're trying to do, because
I'm honestly not. I genuinely.
I've worked it out, because it didn't work at the Euros last year when he was like sort of trying to curse England, saying they'd lose every hurdle. So now he's doing the opposite and trying to go, yep, they're gonna win it. They're gonna walk it. It's gonna be easy. I can't see how they'll lose.
I wish it was that. I honestly just think that they're just not that impressive. The only thing I would say of Real Madrid is if Benzema has another unbelievable game, which it's not going to be ruled out, but I can just see Van Dijk keeping him a bit more quiet than anybody else has done.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I don't doubt that.
We will need to. I think Benzema's like overperformed his Champions League expected goals by.
Oh, ridiculous, man! He's on a
triple.
ridiculous run of form. It's at the end of a long enough season for him. I think he'll turn up, but you're asking him to basically produce another hat trick. I think, to really put it in Madrid's favor.
You think?
Even if you told me Real Madrid scored 3 goals, I still wouldn't on Saturday. I still wouldn't rule out Liverpool winning it.
I would. No, I'm not ruling Gus out.
They can't defend either. Like I honestly, I can't see a world in which Liverpool don't score because Real Madrid cannot defend.
Yeah, definitely.
What I believe, but yeah,
I don't see how. Like, there's no reason to think Real Madrid. There's no reason to think they keep a clean sheet though.
Wow.
But Champions League finals are historically
okay. Like that.
Very
okay,
low
fine. But that is.
On top of that, I can just see. I don't know. I just don't see.
Right, okay. Well, look. Let's
go back
do it.
to
Let's
the
do.
not finishing chances thing that he was he mentioned at the start. Which there's some fairness to that. We definitely do miss a few sitters. We will score.
They score every
Think
game.
about how many chances Chelsea got.
We're
not unbelievable at producing chances, and then
score 3.
Put that on top of Liverpool will produce more, and Liverpool will be more clinical.
Yeah, we definitely have better goal scores than Chelsea.
Yeah,
no doubt there. All right, score predictions. What are we saying?
All of you go first before I go.
Yeah, no, I thought you might ask that. George, look, go on. Articulate why Liverpool are going to lose this game.
I don't need to articulate. I'm just going to state it's going to be 1-0. Benzema scores before the 20th minute. That's it.
And then they just hold out.
They hold out.
Dig in.
Oh my
gosh.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 2-1. I think it will be, and Liverpool will take a 2-0 lead. I don't know if it'll be as early. I think it'll be an early enough goal in the first half for Liverpool. Maybe another one before half time, or maybe just after the second half. And I think Real Madrid will get at least one goal coming back, but just Liverpool will hold on.
I was going to say 2-1, but I feel like now that you've said it, I'm going to have to predict something else. I do think Liverpool win this. I'm going to go 2-0, like the last final they were in. I think they'll start fast, and I do think they'll score early. And I'm not saying Real Madrid can't come back into it, because as we said, they've shown that they've been able to do that throughout the entire campaign. But I just think Liverpool are a better team than Real Madrid, and I'm not going to factor in immeasurables like the aura of the Champions League. Even though it probably, does play a part, certainly.
But if you're talking about the aura of the Champions League, both of them are brilliant clubs for the Champions League that have been at this stage before. Both teams have won it recently. It shouldn't be too much for either team.
No, I mean, Liverpool have huge history. They're going for their 7th. I mean...
But even the actual teams that are, like the actual players that are taking part, a lot of them have been there before.
Yeah.
And won it.
It's a lot of the same playing group, but with a few additions. They've been there and done it.
You know what?
Ali, come on.
I'm going to go with the classic. My heart says something. My head says something else. My head says 3-2 Real Madrid, but I'm going to go with my heart.
That's not your head, Ali. That's not your head. You're lying to yourself if that's what your actual head is saying. Because there's no stats.
I don't even think George's head is saying that, to be honest.
There is Karim Benzema and Vinicius Junior's expected goals conversion rate.
But what did we say about expected goals? If you're overperforming,
it's unsustainable. That's the time to go back to the mean. That's the time. Hopefully so. Hopefully that's the start of their drop off. Too late.
Okay, what's your heart saying?
I think that's your paranoia.
Paranoia.
Speaking, yeah. I more than your head.
My heart saying our character is going to be bigger, and we will win 3-2. We'll go 2-1 down, and we'll come back. We'll deal with adversity as we've always done. 3-2 Liverpool.
I'll say 3-2.
3-2.
How are you going to cope either way on Saturday?
Yeah,
you're looking nervous already.
I am nervous. I'm really, really, really nervous from now make no mistake, I am very nervous.
Would it have been worse if you were playing City? Because I know your hatred for Real Madrid.
No, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah,
we would have if it was against Real Madrid, if it was against City and they won the league, probably is. But no,
you know many Real Madrid fans. Does America have a lot of Real Madrid fans?
Yeah, my coworkers are a Madrid fan, for example.
See that's what
Raj, shout out.
Whoever's closest to me, of a mate or someone I know is supporter of the rival team. That's who I don't want to come up against in the final.
That is it's exactly that, isn't it? It's like whoever all your mates support. That is the worst team to lose to, without a doubt.
To be fair, Raj does really like Liverpool, though. Like Raj respects Liverpool a lot.
He's not proper.
I don't respect Real Madrid, but yeah, Anyway,
in fairness, he does sound a bit like a Real Madrid fan. Could flip flop at any moment.
Yeah, it'd be Man City next season.
He definitely booed Ronaldo at some point.
Definitely booed Ronaldo. No, I don't think so. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He wouldn't.
Sure he is, man.
He can be a good guy and not be a proper fan. I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Right. We're not here to slag off your co-workers. Don't worry.
Yeah, he might be listening.
Ali, try and keep the heart rate down before Saturday, mate. Try and keep calm. And it could be worse, mate. You've got a European Cup final to look forward to. I mean,
and look, I will say this: regardless of the result on Saturday, this has been. I think winning 2 trophies is not something Liverpool have done for a long time. For a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Winning cups, we have not done that since 2012.
Yeah.
Our last FA Cup was in 2006. I think this has been at least a completely satisfactory season. If we don't get twatted in the Champions League final, I'm fine with it.
No, surely
I'm
fine
with how the seasons went.
I'm
fine with how the seasons went.
Just to finish, right? Just to finish the podcast, like if you say you lose the final, and I know it's like a negative thought, how do you then assess the season? Because on the one hand, you could have won the quadruple. You've played in every game this season. You've come close to doing something really special. But then on the other hand, you've only won 2 domestic trophies, and I don't know, like expectation going into the season. I mean, maybe
expectations going into the season, people were putting us behind Man United.
Yeah,
I was going to say, like, people weren't quite sure how you were. Yeah, so
I didn't think people.
How would you assess it? How would you assess the season if you didn't win the Champions League?
It's a success.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a success. Of course, it's a success. You've won 2 trophies.
There you go. With that.
I'm saying if you're scaling it like 1 to 10, obviously if you win the Champions League, it's a treble, it's an unbelievable season. If you don't win it, kind of what are you giving it out of 10 for the season?
8.5 at least. Because I don't know if that's something to do with.
Just shaking his head.
I don't know why.
It's binary for George. It's binary. You either win or you don't.
Yeah. It's a bottle job if they don't win it, isn't it?
Here we go. Yeah. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Revenge. Here we go.
My expectations and bottle jobs.
If Liverpool don't win the Champions League, Real Madrid bottled it.
That's an.
It depends. Like how it for me with the Arsenal situation, it did depend how you turned up against Newcastle, and you just completely capitulated.
The manner matters.
The manner of it really did matter for me. I wouldn't have called it a bottle job if you had got unlucky or something.
Yeah.
It's the manner of the defeat in the final. If Liverpool don't turn up, absolute bottle job.
I don't understand it.
If Benzema scores a hat trick out of nowhere,
he was agreeing with it yesterday, George. He's moving the goalposts.
Unbelievable.
He's moving the goalposts. What bottle? No. Ali. Ali says he doesn't agree or he doesn't understand it.
I mean, you're a better team than Real Madrid.
You're a better team than Real.
We are a better team than Real Madrid.
Alex lying to himself. He's convinced himself that.
No, I know we are a better team than Real Madrid. I think
team.
we're the best team in Europe. I definitely think we're the best team in Europe. I just think, and this is the point I was making before everyone cut me off. Just kidding. The reason the reason why I'm saying it, I'm still like satisfied at least. Is because I in my head, Real Madrid won the Champions League since the win against PSG. I've definitely thought since that win they would go all the way and win it, regardless of who the opposition is. And they went through definitely the tougher run. And I just think they're gonna that's why my head's saying Real Madrid are going to win it, and they're going to win it in a very typical Real Madrid way of they are not going to play well. We're definitely going to be better. We'll walk all over them, but the result won't reflect that. That's the scenario that's in my head, the scenario I'm fearing. But I do believe in us. I do believe in our like improvement since the 2018 final in terms of handling big occasions, handling adversity, being measured, being calm, taking decisions on the pitch. And also, we have a much deeper squad now than the 2018 final. Remember that starting 11 was just nailed on. Salah went off. Adam Lallana went on. Like, he'd not played even 25% of the minutes, if, even that. So, I believe in us now way more than I thought in 2018. Although, my prediction in 2018 was Liverpool are going to win because we played better football then than Real Madrid. But Real Madrid won in a very typical Real Madrid way. Like, just complete luck and mistakes from Liverpool and the Salah injury and whatever. But we're a much more mature side now. And me thinking Real Madrid are going to win the Champions League doesn't mean I think Real Madrid are the best team in Europe. They absolutely aren't. They are not top 5 this season.
This is going to age badly. It
might.
It
might.
And Tomori puts Benzema in the back pocket. Easy.
No, not that. Benzema is the best striker in the world. I think that's been the main difference in terms of how they got to the final. And Vinicius Junior is the second best finisher in the world.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It all remains to be seen. Ali.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts for us?
Up the Reds.
See the Chelsea boys shaking their heads. They're
Yeah, just a quick mention. Tammy's done it with
Tammy's done
Jose.
it. Before we go, Tammy, Jose's done it. The best to ever do it. According to a certain individual.
Thanks to Tammy. Tammy
He's
FC. Carry.
It's the first Europa Conference, obviously, and it's also but he's also completed the European treble as well.
Yeah.
Of the Champions League, Europa. That's it done and dusted. No one else is going to be the first to do it. He's done it on the very first goal.
Roma's first ever.
He's won all 5
as well.
Yeah. Roma's first ever European trophy.
I mean,
Jose's won all 5 European finals he's competed in as well. He just knows how to get it done. I mean, it was ugly, it was horrible, but
it was awful.
Tammy's the first player in history to win 3 European trophies in a calendar year.
There you go. England's starting striker at the World Cup. My fucking guy. Not that I have a bottle job.
Legend.
You're really getting on board the Tammy Abraham bandwagon.
Mate.
I'm
there with you.
You're looking
It's
to get
taken
into
a
the
while.
colours.
It's taken a while, but I'm on the fucking Tammy train now, man. I'm telling you. I'm riding it.
I'll be off it come November, but
Yeah. Well, he's top class. Anyway, we'll leave it there for tonight. Thanks for joining me, boys, for this little bonus episode. Ali, try and keep yourself calm before Saturday. I don't know if you've got any, meditation exercises you can do, anything to relieve the stress. But
I'm a religious man. I pray 5 times a day. That's what I'm
there you go.
Doing.
There you go.
Maybe up that before the final.
I'll up the scale bit. Yeah.
Is there anyone that will listen? Yep. Stay safe, mate. Keep yourself well.
Stay safe, as if I'm gonna get a heart attack or something.
Yeah, I know. I'm worried for you, mate. I'm worried for you. I have to say.
I'm surprisingly, I'm generally calm when watching games on my own, especially. I'm not gonna be. I don't think I'll be watching with anyone. Just on my own. I don't wanna. I don't want that emotional investment. Just
Been there. Trust me. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.